Hello? Hello? Hey everyone, it's Zach Wright, founder and CEO of Grapevine Software, the virtual office platform for your remote and hybrid workforce to stay connected, informed, and engaged from anywhere in the world. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, I should be coming at you with the Future of Work weekly report, but as I mentioned, whenever we started the Future of Work weekly report, there will be some times where we are just so busy that we don't have enough time to do all the recording and the editing and the reading of the articles and then breaking those articles down into summaries. But I thought that I could replace this week's Future of Work weekly report with a little bit of thought leadership in a sense and tell you how I envision the future of work. So I want to talk about how I think that we're going to operate as companies in the future of work moving forward. And so what I've done is I've come up with 3 specific things that I want to talk about today. And so we're going to call these the top 3 thoughts of the future of work, or the top 3 things that are going to structure the future of work and how we work with our employees. So let's go ahead and dive into number 1, which is the everyday office is going to go virtual. Now, the virtual office will become the everyday normal office, the nucleus, the home, the place that you used to physically walk into will now be the thing that you sign into to start your day and sign out of to end your day, right? And that's going to be important because one of the biggest things that we hear is that remote workers have a tough time turning off. And now we are not mobile friendly. We didn't necessarily do it on purpose, and we will eventually have a mobile application. But for right now, any company that uses us, we tell them to take advantage of this opportunity, right? Because now if you sign into Grapevine, the virtual office, you can start your day. You can check the updates that might have happened whenever you signed out at the end of the day before. And so you sign in, you see if there's any new executive updates, you see if there's any new announcements that anybody posted. Are there new company events? Did somebody follow you? Is there a new employee? Did we win something? And you kind of start your day off understanding everything that's going into the organization, right? And then at the end of the day, you sign off, or on your employee profile, you can click a button. It says out of office, yes or no. And so if you click yes, that little green dot that is beside your name will show as gray. And that will tell anybody who tries to reach out to you through Figgy Chat or however they want to engage with you in the platform, it will tell them that you're not in the office or you're not working, right? So you don't have to be expected to respond, and you can actually turn off. So we're using that as an advantage. But let's get back to the point. The everyday office, physical office, is going to go virtual. So platforms like ours is going to be essential because since we don't have that physical office where we're going to have camaraderie and all that kind of stuff, and people are in all these different locations, they're in different time zones, we are still going to need a way to connect with one another in a meaningful way, not just in a meaningful way where I'm connecting with you on a emotional level or a spiritual level or whatever you want to call it, but also I'm connecting with you because I notice that you have this skill and I'm trying to learn that skill, or I have a question about that skill, or we're about to have a sales call with this employee and I noticed that you work there. Can you give us a little bit of intel on them, or join the call with us and have a better sales meeting and move it down the pipeline faster, right? So that's an example. Now, the other part is that whenever you're not in a physical location, you need a way to involve employees with one another, not just from a professional level, but also a personal level. Let's just think about this in life terms. If you only focus on working, you will eventually get burned out. And as remote teams, I've been working 100% remote, going almost on 5 years at this point now. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's been enough to understand the ins and outs of some of the gaps. And that's what we're trying to solve at Grapevine. Now, one of the things that you need to be able to do is not only work and just do something for a second. Ask yourself today, if you're watching this, what did your work day look like? Now ask yourself, okay, because you probably answered, okay, I had a meeting here, I had a meeting here, I had a meeting there. I had like an hour in between, enough time to eat some lunch or suck down a protein shake or whatever. And then you got back to work. And then the day ends and now you actually have time to work. So think about this question. As a part of your day, how many times did you actually interact with someone outside of the work that you're doing? Was it at the beginning of a meeting? Were you able to say, like, how's everything going on your end? Beyond the weather, like, how deep did you go? Right? The chances are, if you're in a startup, especially, you're not necessarily asking those questions, or you are, and then you're segueing directly into the work, right? So what you really need to do is find a way that creates a version of synchronous and asynchronous ways to connect with employees for business and beyond business. And so in Grapevine, the reason that I'm bringing this up is in Grapevine, we help you really connect your employees to one another with our employee profiles and then Figgy Chat. So the use case that I really like is if I want to learn something, I'll go to the employee directory. I will type in something, or let's say that I want to talk to a coworker about one of their hobbies. It's also searchable in the employee directory. Now, as long as that employee has the hobby in their employee profile, I can go there and say, I'm thinking about going hiking this weekend. Let me see if anybody on the team likes to hike. And so I'll go there and I'll search hiking. I'll see who likes to hike, and then I'll send them a Figgy Chat and say, like, hey, I saw that you like hiking. I'm about to go this weekend to Crowder's Mountain. Have you ever been? And then boom, now you're talking more than just, about the business side of things. And I know that some leaders are going to hear this and say that why do I want my employees to speak outside of what they need to do? Well, a lot of employers and leaders will also say, we need you back in the office because there's no camaraderie, right? So you gotta make sure that you're not contradicting yourself first. Second, the more that people are connected in your organization, the more that opportunities will kind of just come to you. And what I mean about that is, if I'm thinking, okay, I know that I'll use Alex, my founding advisor. So if you're listening, Alex, what's up? I know that he ran his own company, Scene Doc, for 9 or 10 years. And so if I have a startup question, I might go to him. Let's say that my old CEO, Rose, is in Grapevine too. I know that she is good at really bringing home the vision. Well, let me reach out to her. Now, those all had to do with business. But if we all use Grapevine, I could go to their profile and you have pictures and you have an introduction and all that kind of stuff. And I could say, oh, I didn't know that you won this award for a pie eating contest. I'm just like making things up now, but like now I know on a deeper level. And then the more that they talk, the more that information comes out. And so now let's say that I'm in a leadership meeting and something comes up. And I remember from talking to that person, oh, they did this at that company. Let me ask them if they could help here. But if you don't have that connection, you can't connect the dots and really, really get to the full opportunity of having these people who have diverse backgrounds or different backgrounds, right? So that's what we're talking about here. The virtual office is going to be the new office, and that is where everybody is going to be able to connect daily, but they're also going to be able to go beyond just business related items, but also see them personal life. Like, what is it that, who are they actually? And then that's going to really create bonds, and then you're going to be able to have better outcomes and faster results as a result of that. Now, the next part is on-demand co-working spaces. So employees will have freedom to choose their work environment through on-demand co-working space. And then this flexibility negates the need for companies to commit to expensive long-term leases, offering a cost-effective solution for dynamic workforces. So the ones that come to my mind are Radius. Obviously, WeWork is out there too. That's more like the industrial style. So if you're in the city, you can probably go to a WeWork. With Radius, it's like Airbnb, but for your workspace for the day or for the offsite or for the team that is around that location. And so, but the importance of that is what I mentioned at the end, is that instead of having this 5-year lease that you're signing, where your environment is now flexible and maybe even the majority of people don't even live in that location, you're not wasting money. You're only spending money on when they choose to go to a flexible co-working space, right? And so the way that I see this happening is employers will give their employees a budget, a co-working space budget per month. We talked about this at the last place that I worked, but we never got to it because we were acquired before we were able to actually really think about even creating a plan for it and then ultimately initiating it. But I think that if you're 100% remote or you're flexible, but you don't have a specific office, you should give your employees a budget of let's say like $500, $1,000 a month, if you can. You're gonna have to decide what that budget looks like. I recommend surveying your employees to see who, first of all, who would want to take advantage of this co-working space, and then how often would they like to go into a co-working space, because then you can kind of budget it based off of that. But you would give them a budget of whatever the budget is, and then they could choose each month how often they choose to rent out a space in the on-demand co-working space, right? And the good thing with Radius, and I'm not paid, we're not partners, but the good thing with Radius or a tool like that is you can book one day here and then the next day or the next week completely in a different place. Or if you're traveling and you don't have good internet connection, but you need good internet connection, you can go to the app, find somewhere around you, and go check that out too. So I think that that is going to be the new way of working. And the good thing is that that budget can always increase or it could decrease depending on the economic status of the world or your economic status as the company. And so it allows this flexibility not only in work, but how much you offer to the employee. And also, I mean, they could always choose to go to a coffee shop and keep it free if they wanted to too. So that's one, that's the side for the employers. And then the employees, they have the ability to work flexibly and choose where they want to work. And so if they get motivated by people around them, they could choose to go to that co-working space and meet new people. You don't always have to work beside the people that you're actually working with in the same company to get that motivation or that inspiration around you, right? It could be just people around you. Allie Green, one of the co-authors of Remote Work, she does this great. She has maybe like a cohort of people that she'll go into a new place, find them, and then they'll all work together, not in the same company, but they'll all work together. They'll just meet up at a coffee shop or a co-working space. So there's a lot of different ways that we can think about how this works. So now let's go ahead and go to the third thought on how I think the future of work is going to operate. So the third one is going to be Onsites. So Onsites are going to be the new Offsites, right? So Onsites will become the eagerly anticipated quarterly or biannual event where all employees gather in one location. These events will blend company meetings with engaging team building activities or team bonding activities, enhancing virtual engagement and building strong, cohesive teams until the next gathering. We see this from Atlassian research where if a team meets biannually at the least, that actually increases the connection of the team for 9 months or more. Now, if you take the on-site and then you add it to the everyday virtual office, then your team is going to be connected at all times throughout the year, just like they would have been if they had a physical office and they lived in the same location, right? And so, I mean, the on-sites, we don't have to go too descriptive into it, but like I mentioned, it is going to be a mixture of, yes, we're going to talk about certain things. So let's say that one of them is towards the end of the year and we're about to go into the new year. Well, maybe we want to talk about the strategy that we're going to shoot for the following year, right? So we can get everybody amped up about it, or it could be after the new year, we get everybody together, we talk about how the holidays were, how the New Year's was, and then we actually get to see people in person. And then we also talk about the strategy or what we need to do to accomplish what we're trying to do for that year, right? And then the 6-month mark, halfway through the year, you could do it again, or it could be quarterly. So every single quarter you meet up with your entire team, if it's a small team, or if it's a larger team, or if you just want to do it this way in general. You can have certain departments. This is how we did it at Kumu. We would have certain departments meet in the same location while the others would meet in another location, or it would be location based. So we had people in the US, some on the East Coast, some on the West Coast, some in the Midwest. Then we had people in the UK, we had people in Canada, and then we even had a couple of people, I think, in Japan. And so whenever we were doing an offsite, we might have 4 different locations where everybody's going to huddle together, and then we're going to connect through those too. But it's not like you're going into the office and then you're just jumping on a Zoom. It's I wish I had them here so they can explain it better. But whenever we did this for a sales kickoff, we picked 4 locations. Everybody went into those different 4 locations and we connected through Zoom to do team building activities. And then we would share what was going on to everybody. And it almost felt like those 4 locations were really in one place while we were connected there. But then whenever we disconnected from the technology, we actually went and did something. Like each time we would go, we would do like a happy hour, or we would go to dinner, or we might go to an activity or a museum, whatever it was. We were trying to learn a little bit about the business or what to expect. And then we were also doing something that was connecting us on a personal level, right? And so those are the 3 things that I think are going to shape the future of work. I didn't mention anything about AI. I think that that's going to be important, but it's not going to be how we connect as people and how we work as people as far as creating this new office approach, right? And so I know that I really honed in on number 1 because that's the everyday thing. So just a reminder, the everyday office goes virtual, right? So virtual office platform by Grapevine. That's where you're going to connect. You're going to give the important announcements, the updates, the company events, social media posts. You're going to be able to connect through the community feed. You're going to be able to learn more about employees through the employee profile. If you want to find somebody who has a skill that you want to learn more about or you need to connect with for a business deal, you go to the employee directory. Same thing with personal things like hobbies, or if you just want to learn more about someone. Then we have the on-demand co-working space. So we're giving the employees a choice of where they want to work that day. And we're keeping the cost and overhead down for the company. And the good thing about this is, obviously, we don't want another pandemic, but let's say something happens, right? Nature happens, and we can't go into an office. Work completely stops. But if that's not the case and we do this new structure, now we have the virtual office, we connect through that approach and nothing slows down, even if we have to quarantine for years, right? Let's hope not. And then the third part, just to bring it all together, is Onsites will be the new Offsites. So we have an infrastructure for everyday use. We have a process or an approach where if we need to get out of the house because we're more extrovert or we just want to switch up the scenery, we have the on-demand co-working space. And then to really drive everything home, we either have biannual or quarterly events, offsites, on-sites, whatever you want to call them, where we connect as a company, we connect as employees, and we connect as people beyond just the business side of everything. I think when we take this approach, that obviously this is probably more for knowledge workers, but we can see it for other people as well as we learn to adopt this future of work. I think if we take that approach, then we are going to understand what the future of work really can look like. And we're going to understand that the office doesn't necessarily matter as much as keeping people connected and allowing them to have the right infrastructure to be successful, where we can achieve goals and connect beyond just business. I hope that this video was helpful. I know it's not the future of work, but it's kind of talking about how I can see the future of work happening. And if you're interested in number one, which is the virtual office, did you know that if you go to our website, you can start a free trial, no credit card needed. You sign up, you get 30 days free. And as a part of that 30 days free, you'll get emails that'll help guide you, but you also get free onboarding and setup directly with me. And we're working on an implementation and change management toolkit that will help you not only set up the virtual office, but tell you directly or give you a guide on how you can roll this out where you're going to achieve more adoption of Grapevine's virtual office platform. Thanks so much for watching. If you did like this, like, subscribe, and share with any other future of work pioneers out there. And until next time, thanks for watching.